Hello everyone. Today we are going to build a simple Python API. So our tech stack is Python as the programming language, FastAPI is the framework, SQL Alchemy is the object-relational mapper with the sqlite database, and Uvicorn is the web server built for Python. So we are going to talk about full CRUD operations with retrieving data, inserting, updating and deleting data with get method, post method, put method and delete method. So let's do it. Let's start our project. First, let's create a folder for our project. Then we can cd into it. Let's open our folder in Visual Studio Code. Okay. First, we need to create a virtual environment for our project. We can go to terminal and new terminal. We can choose command prompt. You need to install Python version 3.6 or higher for this project. Let's create our virtual environment. We can use py-3-m-venv as the command. Also, we can give a name to our virtual environment, FastAPI as our name of the virtual environment. You can see a folder created in the name of FastAPI. There are scripts inside it. Okay, now we need to start our terminal inside virtual environment. So for that, we need to talk to this bat file. First, we need to go to the folder FastAPI, then the script folder, then the activate.bat. Then you can see our terminal now works inside our virtual environment. Also, we need to make sure our interpreter is also working inside our virtual environment. So for that, we need to go to command palette and then we need to select Python interpreter. You need to enter interpreter path. For that, we can type dot backslash, then our virtual environment folder name, FastAPI. Then inside it, we need to locate the python.exe, and we need to press enter and it will take the path. Alright, first we need to install FastAPI framework. So for that, we can use pip install FastAPI. We are installing this framework within our virtual environment, not in our computer. We need to install Uvicorn. First, we need to create a main.py file. Then we should import FastAPI. Now we need to create our app equals FastAPI. First, we can create a get method, and this is the URL location. We can create a function and give any name. Let's give it a name hello. We don't need anything inside here, and we can retrieve sample list of data like data item 1 and data item 2, like that. I'll copy and paste this. Now we have 5 data items. Have our method defined. This method will return these data items. Let's run our application for the first time. For that, we need to type uvicorn main colon app, which is our app declared here inside our main.py file, and we need to type -- reload. Now you can see we are outputted the URL, and we can press Ctrl and click on it, and it will open in our web browser. And you can see our data there. Or you can just type localhost :8000. As you can see, these are our data items. Here, by typing /docs and a pound sign to the end of our URL, we can go to the Swagger UI, which comes with our FastAPI that provide a kind of a documentation and a graphical user interface for our API. You can see our get method is there as we defined. What we can do is click this, and you can see this is how it look like. We need to try it out, then it will provide us the execute button. We will click on it and it will show our data like this: data 1, data 2, data 3 and data 5. Same way we can define other functions like post method, put method and also delete method. But first let's create our database, which is SQL Alchemy object relational mapper, and then we will access our data with those methods. I'm pressing Ctrl C to stop our server for now because I need to access to terminal again. Now we need to install SQL Alchemy. For that we can use pip install. Here we are installing all the packages inside our virtual environment that we created earlier. Okay, it is created. Then let's create our database file here, database.py, or else we can use any name. It is not important here. Here we are creating our database engine. First we need to import create engine. Then we need declarative base from SQL Alchemy. Also we need session maker from SQL Alchemy.orm. First we need to create our database engine. Engine equals create engine. Here we are creating a SQLite database, which is good for testing but not good for production. We can type SQLite 3 forward slashes and we can specify our database name. We can choose any name for our database. Let's use test.db. Then we need this base object with declarative base. Then we need to create a session local. There we can bind our session engine. Then we need to specify expire on commit false. That's all about our database py file. Now we need to create our database model file. Let's create a file, models.py. In this example, we only need columns, integer and strings. Also, we need to import base object that we created in our database.py file. This one. We can create a students table. Then we need to specify our table's name, which is students. Then we can create a student ID, which is a integer and also the primary key. We need to type primary key equals true. Then we can use a student name, which is a column that contains strings. We can specify the string length, maybe 100 characters. Okay, that's all about our database creation and database model creation. Now we need to define our get method, post method, put method and delete method. And first we need to import our database in our main file. We need to import models. Then we need to import base, engine and session local objects from our database file. Also we need to import session from SQL Alchemy ORM. Let's create our database here. This line here is the line that creates the database. If database already does not exist, it will create our database with this line. Now we need to create the method to access our database. Here we can create a method like get access, and we need to create our session variable. Then we need to use a try to yield the session. Also we can use a print statement to check if our database has connected successfully. Finally, we can close our session. Okay, now we need to get our data from students table. So for that we can modify our get method here, and we can specify a appropriate method name, get students. We need to import depends from FastAPI and we need to use it here. We need to use our get access method inside this get method. Now we need to create a variable and query all the data from our students table. Then we need to specify it is our students table from our models file. Here we can select all the data, so we can use the all method. Then we can remove this field here and we can return the student details, which is our all students. And let's save and try again. You can use Ctrl J to get the terminal back, and what we need to do is Uvicorn main app -- reload. We can refresh it. Here we have our only method here. You can see it's modified as we modified from hello to get students. Then what we can do here is we can press the try it out button and it will ask us to execute. Let's execute it, and you can see this is empty, which means there's no data in our table, right? We haven't insert any data in our table. We can write our post method and insert some data. You can see that when we press enter, the server will first create our database. Test.db appears here. Also, I hope you remember that we have printed statement to connect the database connectivity, and you can see that is outputting here. Okay, now let's create our post method. For now, I'm pressing Ctrl J to hide the terminal. We can insert the student details to our table. For that, we can use post method. We can use a function insert students. First, we need to provide our student name, right? So for that, we can declare a variable like stname, and which is a type of string. We can specify like str, and then we need our database session, which is this one. We can copy it and just paste it. Here we can declare a variable called student, and we can assign our given name stname to student name in our table. Then we can add our data to the session. Then we can commit it. Then we can refresh. Finally, we can return our student. Let's save it and run it. I'm pressing Ctrl J. As you can see, it has saved and some lines are added in here. Let's go to the browser. We can refresh here, and now we can see there's our post method as we specified insert students. We can click here, and you can see it is asking our student name. So you know that in our get method, if we try to select all the data from our table and there's no data here, so let's insert our first data field. Here in these sessions, you need to specify simple s at the beginning. Okay, let's try our post method out. We can specify the first name as John, and let's execute. As you can see, first student 1 is John with the student ID of 1, right? We can insert more student names like Jessica and press execute, and some more names, maybe Henry, maybe another name like Kelly, another name like Freddy, and we have inserted 5 names. We can go to our get method now and press execute, and what you will see is all the records here: student 1, student 2, 3, 4 and 5 as we inserted. Now maybe we can declare our get method again to retrieve student names when we insert our student ID. Okay, let's define our function find students. Here we need to insert our student ID first, so we can create a variable stid, and it is type of integer, and we need our access session. We can copy and paste it here. Here we can declare a variable like search, and we can get our student by his student's ID stid. We can declare the get method here, and we can insert our student ID so that it can retrieve our student's name. Finally, we can return student search result. Let's save and try it out. Our get method is here with find students. We can click in here, and it is asking to insert our student ID to find the student name. Number 5 is Freddy. Number 4 is Kelly. So let's insert number 5 and see our result. Yes, it is showing us Freddy. If we adjust it to number 4 and press execute, we can see it's Kelly, right? Yeah, it is working. Now we can write our update method. Also, to update a specific record, we need to give our student ID, and then we can update the student name. We can declare our function update students. Then to update a student, we need to provide the student ID and access session. We can copy and paste it here. We can declare a variable and get the student detail by providing student ID like we have done earlier. Here we need to give a student name as an input, so we can declare a variable like stname, which is a type of string. So here we can use that variable. We are saying that given student name is our student's name in our table. We can commit it, and then maybe we can write a message or get the student details. Finally, we can retrieve the student updated record again here. Let's save. Okay, you can see our put method is here as update students. First, let's see. These are our students. Let's change our student number 3, Henry, to some other name. Okay, let's try it out. Henry is number 3, and let's change his name to Harry and press execute. Let's see down below, as student number 3 has changed to Harry, and maybe we can use our method here and for the student number 3 and check it again. As you can see, it's changed to Harry. Okay, let's write our delete method. We can delete the students from our database. Let's create our function delete students. Okay, to delete the student, we need to specify the student ID and we need our access session. We can copy the student ID variable and the session. We can give student ID stid name and we can copy the session variable. Then we can specify our student to delete is our specific student ID from our students table. Then we can tell our session to delete this specific student like this, and we need to commit it. We can say our student has deleted. For that we can maybe say student, and we can specify student name and we can tell is deleted. If we want, we can specify the student ID and student name. We can use a formatted string. We can give two variables like student ID and student name. So there's no student name here. We can declare it here. St name equals student to delete dot student name. Right. So there will be a message output into us saying that student ID with this student with this name is deleted. Okay, let's save and refresh our browser. You can see our delete method here, delete students. First, let's see our data. Okay, we have 5 students. Let's remove John, which is student ID 1. Okay, here we can specify the student ID. Let's try it out. We can give the student ID and press execute, and it is saying our message student 1 John is deleted. Right, maybe we can delete another one, maybe number 5, execute, and it's telling student number 5, which is Freddy, is deleted. Okay, we can go back there and try our remaining students. You can see student number 2, 3 and 4 is remaining and 1 and 5 are deleted. Okay guys, so that's about our tutorial. So we have created the API using FastAPI framework with Python, and we use our SQL Alchemy as the object relational mapper with SQLite database, and we have learned a lot. Thank you for watching.